Welcome to HTML for Chrome OS Part 2. Um, we have already seen some elementary HTML language. We set up a very basic page. Nothing fancy, but we got a fully functioning page, hopefully written in a text editor, saved, and then viewed in the web browser. And we used the hypertext markup language, HTML, to format that page and displayed it. As you remember, HTML has ways to mark up traditional regular language to make it visible in the web browser. And there's some invisible language, some invisible bits called markup or tags, which are not seen by the viewer, but you use them to format the information. And we found it very useful, hopefully. Hopefully you did. It's a lot more complex than what you saw, but if you're a web browser user, you know that modern web documents are very, very complex. So you need to learn a lot more, but it's not incredibly complicated. And setting up pages requires a lot of repetition. You can automate it a bit using cut and paste and making a blank form and filling it out every time you need a new page. At the moment, we're just saving the pages locally for you to play with. Nothing being loaded up to the web or anything. That's a bit ahead of us because our stuff isn't very interesting yet. So we're just saving it to the local drive. You don't even need an internet connection. And today we're going to add a little more style to the text, and we're going to insert a link to our page. You use links all the time. That's how you get around the web. And it's one of the great unique things about the World Wide Web and the internet is being able to travel from one page to another whenever you need to. Today we're going to set up a link which will take us to another page. Problem is it won't bring us back because that's more complex. Okay, just to reiterate, HTML is very useful. It's pretty forgiving. Unlike some computer languages, it's not case sensitive. You can write in lower uppercase, doesn't matter. If something goes wrong, it often doesn't kill the page. The error sometimes will cause a problem with part of the page loading, and that error will be very visible. You can go in and change it. HTML is universal across the web environment. Everything's written in some variant of HTML basically, except for add-ons and back-end stuff. And since it's so simple and so universal and so easy to use, the web has grown phenomenally. And the only software we're using is a text editor, which comes with a Chromebook, and a web browser, which comes with a Chromebook. You don't have to buy or load any special software. Some other computer programs like C++ or Java or Python or something require you to learn a special piece of software. That's not necessary with this. And that makes it a lot easier to learn, quick to get started, just like you already have. Okay, so this is the page we worked on yesterday. You'll see I arranged it in a little bit of a hierarchy. Some of the indentation's a little off, but we had a set of tags, and the text to be viewed lived within those tags. The outermost tags are the HTML tag set at the very top and bottom, and they tell the computer that this is going to be a hypertext document. And then we had a head and a body tag set sitting one after another on the next level of organization. And inside the head tag set we had a title tag, and the title sits in the tab of the browser along the top. And then down to the body we added first we added some paragraphs and we changed them to headings. Headings are a little larger. Headings also are a tag set that need a closing tag, and I italicize them as well by inserting an italics tag set inside the H3 tag set. And of course, you've got to remember opening and closing tags of a tag set. The closing tag has a little forward slash, and all the tags we've used so far, except for paragraph, come in sets. Paragraph, little p in the angle brackets, does not require a closing tag, although you can use one. Sometimes it does. This is what it looks like when you render it, just like yesterday. So we're going to add a few more style effects. Style is simply we're changing the font, or how the font is displayed, or the color. And we used italics last time. We could use bold or underline, for example. There's also strike through. You encompass the text that you want to have the effect with a tag set. Of course, you need also a regular tag, such as heading or paragraph, to make it visible to the browser. So here I have, need to work on the indent again. This is very much the same page, but it's a paragraph, and it has a paragraph closing tag, the second line in the body. It looks like a real mess, but I have an italic, a bold, and an underline for this one line. I've enclosed it with a closing tag set as well, the closing paragraph tag. It makes it neater. Maybe it's kind of necessary when you're using all this extra formatting tags. The important thing is that they be in the right order. Okay, underline is the most interior-most style tag. Bold is the next one out, then italic, and you'll see that on both sides. They mirror each other. You've got the closing tags have to mirror the opening tags for the style in order for the thing to work right. You could move one of them in, for example, if you wanted to move underline in 10 letters, the closing tag of the underline in 10 letters. You could do that, and then just the last 10 letters of the line would not be underlined. And this is how it looks, italicized with a bold underline. Kind of overkill. But that's how the tags work. As long as they're properly arranged, as long as they're in the right order, they'll work beautifully. Okay. So style rules. There's all kinds of different text qualities, and you can create all kinds of neat effects. But you need to follow the rules. There's two ways right now that we're going to do to style a page or text. Inline style, that will allow you to write a style rule for a single element, a single tag set. So if you have 10 paragraphs in your document and you only want to add special style to one, then you write a style rule along with that line, and it only affects that one line. It's called inline style. You do that for really custom stuff to make something stand out. But if you want a style rule to apply to an entire page, you want to write the rule at the top so that it applies to everything, and you change the language a little so that the browser knows that this rule applies to everything. That way you only have to write the rule once, You don't have to style each individual line. So here's some inline style examples. The style rule is written right after the opening P of the paragraph tab. See, it's a lot of text there. Okay. In these we are, with each paragraph, we're changing, we're selecting a different font, or we're changing the color or the size. And you have to write it in plain English just as it appears here. Okay. Also, since I wrote these in PowerPoint, the double quotes are a little off. The text editor for HTML does not consider there to be opening and closing double quotes. So there'll just be straight up and down double apostrophes. So don't really pay attention to the fact that some of these quotes are open and close, especially since the first line they're backwards. That's what happens when you write it in PowerPoint and don't properly edit it before you put it on the slide. Okay, so the first line, the only thing we're doing is changing the font to Tahoma. Okay, so we have an opening P tab, opening paragraph tag, and writing a little style equals, quote, font family, colon, Tahoma, semicolon, close quote, angle bracket. Has to be written pretty much exactly as it looks there. That will change the font to Tahoma for this particular line. And then, of course, the line, the language displayed in the browser follows that opening tag. The second one, style, is we're changing the font size to 32 points, making it bigger. We're changing the color to blue. So you can kind of get an idea of the language here. Style equals quote, and then you have the attribute, the value assigned to the attribute, semicolon, and then go on to another attribute. These are called attributes: font family, font size, color, and you select for one or another different value for each attribute. You know, I could have font size 36px. You can also express font sizes in 100%, 200%, 150%, 40%. But right now we're just making px. And the third one, we're selecting for font family Tahoma, font size 200%, color blue. So that's a lot of stuff there. If you don't, second one, we didn't select a font family, so it's going to be the default font family that your browser has. It could be anything, whatever you prefer to have in your browser. So if you don't select for a different font family, you'll get the standard one that you have for your browser. And if you don't select for a special font size, it'll be the default size for your browser. Don't select a different color, you'll have the default color. And if you accidentally style for the default, then nothing will change. This is what it looks like in the text editor. Formatting information is in blue. The fact that it's a style tag is set off, or formatting information is in red and it's set off by a blue style attribute, or style selector, and the text that's going to be displayed is in black. This is what it's going to look like in the browser, or in the text editor. And let's see what it looks like in the browser. Okay. 32 point blue, 200% blue courier. You notice I changed first and second I think to Tahoma, third to Courier. And so this is how they look, and these are very basic. You're not probably going to go around and do a lot of you know, inline style. It's very, very time consuming. You do inline style, i.e. altering the individual paragraph tag. You'll do that to make a special point. Like if it's Christmas, you want to change one line to green and red, you know, that's when you use inline style. Just for one line, you know, to change it to green and red. You can even automate that if you want. But going around changing every single line with inline style is very exhausting. You want to use page level style. Let's look at these again. This is what we typed into the text editor on the right, and this is how it shows up on the left. You know, it makes the page a little more interesting. But again, you only use inline style when you're writing a special individual single thing. You want to use page level style for just because it's so much more powerful. Okay, so this is a page level style page. Okay, what I've done here is I've selected for I've created a rule which will enlarge all font 300% over default, turn all font red, make all font family font Courier. Okay. What I did was, okay, if you go down and look at the bottom at the paragraph tags at the bottom, none of them have any styling information anymore. I took out all the inline styling. The style rule, as they call it, all goes in the top. If you look at the head element, the head tag set, inside the head tag set, of course, is a title, and now there's something called a style tag set. If you want to do page level style, you create a style tag set in the head, and then you're going to write all the rules for the page in that style header. And the format's a little different. You type the type of element, in which case we're styling the P for paragraph, just type plain P, and then a set of curly braces, and then write the rules inside the curly braces. In this case, the rule, the selector, and then the value after it. For font family, font size, and color, each of those separated by a semicolon, each attribute separated by a semicolon, and the value of each attribute set off by a full colon. You could run those all onto one line, all three rules onto one line if you wanted. It stands out a little better this way. But this paragraph, this rule, which applies to all elements that begin with the P tag, if you have 1,000 elements with a P tag in your page, they're all going to follow this rule. So you only have to write it once. Very useful. Let's see how it looks. Oh, let's see how it looks in the element in the text editor. You'll notice it down at the bottom, the text that appears on the page is in black. Up top, the style rules are set off in various colors. You'll get to know these pretty easily. There's a lot of rules around them. You'll get to know what looks out of place. So let's run it. So this is what it looks like as it renders in the browser. One page level rule for the entire page. Make certain it's a rule which is good. I mean, you know, 300% red is not really particularly presentable for a full page, but it just shows you that you can make all the page conform to one style, one rule if you declare it in the style tag set in the head of the page. And so we're going to add another heading to the body of the page, an H3 heading. See down there it says this is an H3 font. And we're going to style that heading as well. We're going to place the rule following the paragraph rule, changing the font to Tahoma, color to brown, and font style to italic. Any other aspect of the page that is not specifically changed by the rule will revert to the default. You can have all of these rules in any order. P could come after H3, H3 could come after P, it doesn't matter. They just have to be properly declared with the attribute such as font family, and then value, courier, following, and the rules are all going to kind of look like this. Let's see what it looks like. So we had an H3 heading, and that's default size, but it's styled with italic, and it's brown, and I think we changed it to Tahoma. Everything else is the same as it was before. Okay, and what we've done, well, we have the same here with 2 page level style rules, just like the previous page, but we've decided we want to change one paragraph tag set. We want to exempt it from the rule declared in the style level, in the page level style. And so you just give a special inline style rule specifically to the one tag that you want to style separately from what the page level says. It's the bottom, it's the 4th paragraph, it's the 4th line of the body, it's paragraph, and we're changing the style. We're selecting color blue. Everything else will be the same, but instead of red it will be blue. It will still be 300%, but it will be blue. And this is what, there's a priority of style rules. If you give a tag set a specific style rule, that will control. The inline style rule will control. If you don't give it an individual style rule and it relies on the page level style rule, then the page level style is the thing that controls. But since this is a more specific rule, it overrides the page level style, at least with regards to color, because we changed it. So you can add specific instructions for individual page elements. This styling can get extremely complex. It's a whole other language of its own. You can make a special rule for H3 elements that have a special identifier assigned to them, maybe. You could make a special rule for paragraphs that have paragraphs that meet some kind of condition. It'll be long, and style rules are an entire language of their own. So let's just see what this looks like. We've changed the local inline style for the last element to blue, and that's how it looks. Pretty simple. Okay, so let's add some links. Links are very important. Links take you to other parts of the web, or they can take you to other pages in your collection of pages. If you have the stuff, if you're linking from one of your own pages to another of your own pages, you want to set it up so that you can link back. You can follow a link out to some place, and then wherever you go provides a return link. That keeps the user within your within your environment. Um, we're not going to do that because that's a little more complex. But in this, what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of links. We're going to add one link, and it's going to take us to CNN. And if you want to get back to your page from CNN, you'll have to use your browser's back button. But this is just the quickest way to do it, and you'll see what a link looks like. Links are part of the anchor tag set. A for anchor. So if you see a tag set beginning with A, that anchors don't have to be links. There are other type of anchors that are not links. But in this instance, href equals, and then the web address of the link, all that inside the opening tag. Then you can add some language, which will be the letters that you click on, the letters displayed in the browser you will click on, something like click on here to go to other link, and then a closing anchor tag. You have to be, since you're creating a link, it has to be as accurate as if you were typing in the link, typing in the web address into your web browser to take you somewhere. It has to be accurate. In this case, you need to add the HTTP. The highlighting of CNN.com was done by the PowerPoint. I should disengage that. That the fact that it's underlined and in color, don't worry about that. Just type in, whatever web address you type into those quote marks, the link on your page will take you to that web address. It doesn't matter where it is, provided it's a valid web address. So let's see what it looks like. Okay, we've added the link to the bottom line of the body. We had the other kind of ridiculous looking links, or ridiculous looking paragraph and heading lines, but that's, we just entered ahref equals quote marks and then enclosed a web address. And this is how it will render in the browser. You'll see that let's go to CNN. You click on that and it will take you to CNN because it's reading the web address you enclosed in the anchor text. And let's go to CNN was the text between the two anchor tags. And since it's between two anchor tags, the browser turns it blue. And once you visit it, it turns it purple. I already visited that, so I didn't reset it. But you know this because when you look on a web page, this doesn't happen quite as much now, but links were usually of a different color, usually of a blue color, to tell you that they were active links back in the old days of the web. That's what we're doing here. It's a default style of the web. Later on you'll use pictures as links like they do on most fancy web pages today. They're little pictures that you click on. But we want to just use a little text link. And it takes us right to CNN. Clicked on the go to CNN and it took us there. Now if the web address was not properly typed in, it won't take you anywhere. So you might have to try it, experiment, make certain it works. Might need to add an http://. You might need to add a HTTPS. You have to go to the web destination web and see how the link is displayed when you pull up a sample page. So those are links. So thank you. This is the end of lesson 2. Today we did a little more elementary styling, adding special tags to add style, and then we did some inline styling by adding instructions into the individual tags. And then we wrote some page level style in the heading of the page, which applied to the entire page. And then we did an exemption to the page level style by adding yet another style tag at the tag level. And then we added a basic link. There will be a lot more of this. Links are much more complex. We only have one page, but the next we will try and we will maybe write a second page, and we'll have a link to that second page and a link back so that you can get the entire experience of linking in and out of your own pages. We'll also maybe insert an image. Chromebook is a little weird with some of the addresses of links and images because they're so very long. Chromebook is an extremely involved file system, much more difficult than something in PC when you're on the learning level. And we'll try and keep it fun. Please click on the link to the next episode, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and if I don't answer them, someone else will. And have fun. We're well on the way to becoming HTML programmers. Good night.